All right, welcome everyone. We're just a couple minutes past the hour now, so I'll go ahead and get started on our presentation. So welcome and thanks for joining us for our webinar, Advice from Alumni, Discover Greece. So my name is Anthony Viltro, and I'm ISA's Associate Director of Enrollment Management. Today, I'm joined by one of our amazing alumni to share more about what you should know before studying abroad in Greece. Also with us today from ISA is Hannah Burrows, our program manager for Greece. She's monitoring the chat and will be dropping helpful links along the way, as well as answering any questions you put in the chat. So feel free to drop them in there anytime. But before we hear from our alumni, let's take a quick look at all that Greece has to offer. All right, so why we love Greece. First, culture. Greek culture can best be described as a mix between old and new. From the iconic spots like Acropolis to the Parthenon, you're surrounded by historic monuments. And whether you're in the ruins or wandering the streets, the architecture is incredible. Known as one of the friendliest countries in Europe, Greeks are very warm and kind, so making friends with locals is always easy. And city life. While studying abroad with ISA, you could live in one of the world's most ancient cities, Athens. Whether you're immersing yourself in Greece's history by exploring museums or experiencing ancient ruins, you'll be left wanting more. So, enriched in culture, Athens will give you an inside look at the origins of Greece's philosophers. Athens is also famous for being a young, vibrant city. So, after spending the day exploring the ruins, take advantage of all Athens' offerings in the evening. Food, from gyros to moussaka, the food in Greece will leave your taste buds wanting more. Celebrated as one of the best cuisines in the world, Greek cuisine is influenced by both the East and the West, which is reflected in its diverse range of ingredients. However, the culture of Greek cuisine goes far beyond flavors. Greeks view meals as a way to bring everyone together, make mealtime sacred. The longer you spend at the table, the better. You'll quickly see every city and region as their own traditions for what to eat, how to cook it, when to eat it. If you love food, you'll love Greece. And finally, nature. You can't talk about Greece without talking about how beautiful Greece's landscapes are. Located in southern Europe, Greece is a peninsular country home to an archipelago of 3,000 islands. Experiencing Greece's natural wonders while hiking Mount Olympus or whale swimming in Balos Lagoon. From the mountains to the sea, Greece has you covered if you're looking for adventure. So let's talk about some program options in Greece. With a host university located in Athens, you can study in one of the world's most ancient cities any time of the year, including summer, semester, or for an entire academic year. Athens is quite historic, cosmopolitan, and inviting. With a mix of ancient remains and a young, vibrant energy, Athens offers a little bit of everything. Home to great philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, this is an opportunity to get to dive deep into Greek history. So, no matter if you're looking to study for a semester, summer, or academic year, Greece offers it all. This is our ISA Greece team. The team works together to welcome students at the beginning of the program. They lead on-site orientations as well as the cultural activities and excursions that are run throughout your time abroad. Our team is incredibly knowledgeable and experienced. The resident staff members are ready to support you from the moment you get off the plane until you're heading back home. Their insight and support really help expand the opportunities and heighten the experiences for you and our students abroad. We're always happy to lend an ear or share our local favorite spots. All right, so some funding facts about funding your program. Are you an out-of-state student? going abroad may be even cheaper than studying at your home university. Do you already use financial aid? Check with your financial aid office to see if you could apply it towards your program abroad. Do you currently use any scholarships? You may be able to take advantage, or you may be able to take your scholarships with you. And have you looked at your budget? Consider getting a job, saving beforehand, or asking family and friends instead of gifts this holiday season. So what would be next if you're interested in studying abroad in Greece? Um, if you haven't already applied, I strongly encourage you to contact us with additional questions. Our team can help you narrow down the options for the program that fits your needs. Um, we'll drop an email in the chat right now if you'd like to reach out for more information. Once you've chosen your program, you'll need to apply with us as well as your home university. Be sure to stay in touch with your study abroad office along the way, as they can really help you through the process as it relates to your university. Once you apply to one of our programs, our program managers will be there to answer your questions you have along the way. If you're just starting out or are already enrolled for your program, we think it's always helpful to talk to someone who's been there and done it. We're we're happy to connect you with one of today's panelists or someone else from our alumni network to answer your questions. Hannah is dropping a link in the chat to a form where you can fill out to be connected directly with one of our alumni. We're also happy to connect you with someone that shares a similar identity to you if you want to ask them about their personal experience and advice. So, all right, let's go ahead and meet our alumni who has firsthand experience with studying abroad in Greece. If you've been holding on to a question, now is the time to toss it into the chat. All right, so first, let's do some quick introductions. Olivia, can you please share a little about yourself, your home university, where and when you studied abroad?
Yeah, so my name's Olivia. I go to Western Colorado University, and I'm a junior here. And I studied abroad in Greece this past summer for 5 weeks. I did summer session one. And then I went to the American College of Greece and lived in Northeast Athens.
Great. All right, so let's start with an easy one. Why did you choose Athens?
Um, so I had looked at all of the different programs that ISA offers, and the Greece one just worked great because it's the American College of Greece, like classes were taught in English, and then they all were really easy to transfer because they used American credits. And then also they offered the classes that I needed to take to go towards my degree. So yeah.
Okay, so it sounded like the academics were probably the biggest factor in your decision.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So, um, studying abroad can be a little daunting. What was your biggest concern leading up to your program?
I think my biggest concern leading up to going to Greece was the language barrier because I didn't know any Greek. Um, and so I was really nervous about that, and I wasn't really sure how many Greeks would speak English, and so that was my biggest concern.
Okay. And how did you find it once you got to Athens?
So the majority of Greeks did speak English, so that was really nice. And then if a lot of the times the places where they didn't speak a lot of English was on the islands. And so that was probably the toughest part was when we would go visit islands, there would
Mhm.
most of the time there would only be one or two people like who would speak English at the restaurant we were eating at or something like that. And so that was a little hard, but they were very nice and very kind and patient with us.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you know anyone that was also going to be participating in this program?
No, I didn't know anyone before I applied. Once I applied, I did connect with some other people who had applied just because they gave us like their emails and then they had a Facebook group. So I was able to meet a couple of people online before I went to Greece, but I didn't know any
Okay.
of them before I applied.
Okay. Um, so yeah, but how did you find it, making friends like once you got abroad? And that's a concern we hear from a lot of students is how difficult it might be to make friends.
Mhm. I feel like it wasn't too hard to make friends. The two ISA people in Greece, Celia and Eugenia, they definitely helped a lot during the first couple of days that we were there. We did a lot with all the other ISA kids, and they did a lot of orientation stuff. And like we walked around the neighborhood, and they gave us a tour of the school.
Mhm.
And then after that, like all of us would go to like dinner together and stuff. And so I feel like the first few days they really help you connect with the other ISA kids, and then I became friends with them after that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So what about any other activities on campus? So I mean, I know ISA did a lot of those activities and orientations. Were there any other like on campus things that the American College of Greece did?
Yeah, they had a lot of small excursions. I was only able to go on one of them. It was really cool because I just had to pay €5, and then they took us to the Temple of Poseidon, and then they took us to this beach where we had dinner and did some like meditation and yoga and stuff. So the American College of Greece does a lot of things like that, and so that was really fun. And it was also a great chance to meet Greek students on those excursions as well, and not
Mhm.
just the study abroad students.
Yeah, great. So speaking of taking some excursions, were you able to do much exploring around the region?
Yeah, definitely. I spent most of my time in downtown Athens, and that was like a 30-minute metro ride. Um, and it was super easy to like navigate the area and to utilize the public transportation. And that was part of our orientation as well. Celia and Eugenia really made sure that we knew how to get where, and then also, as I said, they gave us like a tour of our neighborhood and stuff when we first got there. So it was I did get to explore a lot of it, and it was easy.
Okay, great. Yeah. Um, all right, moving on to more serious topic, the academics. Campus life and coursework can look pretty different from what we're used to here in the States. What did you think about your, campus experience and the academics at ACG?
I didn't think it was too different from here. I think the biggest thing was I live on campus here. I'm an RA, and so I've lived on campus my whole time here. And so it was weird to not live on campus in Greece. And it was like a 20-minute walk from our apartment to campus. So I think that that was the biggest change for me. But campus life was pretty similar, and um, the classes were operated very similarly. Grading was a little bit different, just because they use like a different grading scale there. Um, and
Mhm.
so I think that was yeah, it was just the living off campus, and the grades were a tiny bit different.
Okay. Would you say the grading was a little bit harder, a little bit easier than what you were used to?
I would say it was a little bit harder,
Hmm.
um, and just because according to my professors, like multiple people would grade your project, and then they would like all decide on one final grade. And that's not how
Okay.
like my college operates. And
Yeah.
so I think it was a little harder just because so many people like were looking at my essays and whatever I turned in.
Mhm. Okay.
And so I was graded a little more hardly.
Okay. All right. Well, let's shift gears and talk about packing. What's one thing you wish you'd brought that you didn't think of?
Um, Honestly, I really can't think of anything. I think the biggest thing was I just forgot one of my cameras, but that was just like a
Oh,
personal. I just accidentally forgot to put it in
yeah.
my suitcase.
Well, that's a big thing. You gotta take pictures of your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was a little sad, but I mainly used the packing list that ISA provided, and almost I was able to get everything that I needed, and I didn't feel like I
Okay.
forgot anything big. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Um, what about the other way around? Did you bring anything that you definitely did not need?
Um, I might have brought a few too many clothes. Um,
Hmm.
I don't think I brought too many. I just underestimated how many clothes I would like buy in Greece. So if
Oh,
I
okay.
hadn't bought clothes in Greece, then I would have been fine. But um, I think I would have packed less clothes so that I could to just account for what I would buy in Greece.
Okay. That makes sense. Mhm. Yeah, you gotta leave room for your souvenirs and everything too.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So, think back to when it was just about 2 weeks before you were gonna leave for your program. What were you doing to prepare?
Um, that was when I was focusing a lot on like making sure I had my passport, making sure I had like health insurance and travel insurance, all of that stuff figured out. And then just double checking that I had all of my ISA forms filled out correctly um and also making sure that I had like all the medications I needed and that I had all the documents so that I could legally bring them into Greece and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, all those little details need to have ready for the trip. Um, Speaking of packing, we got a question in the chat asking what kind of weather should we be packing for? So obviously you were there for the summer, so what was the weather like?
I thought it was extremely hot. All of like the my Greek friends that I talked to, they said it like they were dressing like it was winter and I was like sweating a lot. I was really hot there, but apparently I missed the main part of summer. Um, but yeah, I've had very warm, like just like clothes for warm weather, just because I knew it was gonna be pretty hot.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, good. Let's see. We may have some students in the audience who have yet to apply. How far in advance did you apply for your program, and what advice would you give?
I applied very last minute. Um, I think I did my application like 2 days before the application deadline,
Hmm.
and my advice would be to do it a lot sooner because that just caused a lot of like unnecessary stress. And my school was on spring break during the application deadline, so then I had to like scramble to get people to sign forms because I didn't know about all the forms that I had to have like my advisor and the study abroad coordinator and
Hmm.
some of my professors sign, and so I had to really scramble to get those signed. So I probably would have started it a couple weeks earlier in order to make
Okay.
sure I have plenty of time to get all those forms figured out before the application deadline.
Yeah, yeah, that's some good advice.
Yes.
Um, so uh knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your former self before going abroad?
Um, I think I was very scared to go abroad just because I never like I had only been to Canada before, and that was the only time I had left the United States. So I was very scared to go to Europe. So I probably just would have told myself that everything was going to be fine.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I would really like give myself advice, just like reassure myself that like you'll be fine, you'll have a great time, to not second guess anything.
Okay, good. That's good advice.
Thanks.
Um, all right. Well, let's see. Last but not least, students always talk about what a life-changing experience studying abroad can be. So, what was a moment for you that you'll never forget?
Um, I think a moment that I'll never forget was it was the night before we all had to leave. And a whole group of us decided to hike I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Mount Leviticus. It's like the tallest hill in Athens. And it's right downtown too. So that was really fun just to hike all the way up there. And we hiked there during sunset as well. So it was just like
Mhm.
absolutely gorgeous. And in Athens, they have a law where you can't build more than, I think it's like 5 stories or something. And so you can really see you could really see like just all of Athens, and it was just like gorgeous. And it was, I think that was a good last thing to do with, all of my friends in Greece before we left.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a really nice way to close it out all
Yeah.
together like that. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining, and thank you, Olivia, for taking the time and talking with us today. I hope you definitely, I think you did definitely inspire some of these students to get ready to study abroad in Greece. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.